Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 31 of our Colorado Rockies rebuild here on Out of the Park Baseball 26. Last we left off, we had begun the month of September, made a couple call ups, and then I determined that since we are obviously out of playoff contention, I would play about half the remaining games off stream and then finish up the rest today. So that is the plan. We're going to finish up the games in September and then one measly game in October. Do a little off-season preview where I think the team needs to improve, sort of moves that I would like to make in the off-season, and go from there. First things first, we currently sit 70 and 82, which I don't think I have to tell you isn't great. We are 16 games back in the division, 9.5 of the wild card, and literally any day now, we will be eliminated from playoff contention. In order to make the wild card, we would have to win every single one of our remaining games, and pretty much all the teams ahead of us would have to collapse in biblical fashion. So suffice to say, that's not going to happen. However, of note, September, pretty good month for us. We took the series against the Rays, 2-1. We swept the Dodgers. We did drop the Red Series 1-2, but then beat the Padres 2-1. Lost the Diamondback Series 1-2, and then swept the Padres in a 3-game series. So overall, pretty good month, and that is after we ended last episode by sweeping the Pirates. Ignore the 7-game losing streak prior to that. Morale was low, shall we say. But nonetheless, I think September's been a pretty good month. Obviously, by definition, it is too little too late, but it is still nice to see that especially some of the bullpen guys that were struggling are starting to get it together toward the end of the season. So we have a 4-game series against the Diamondbacks, 3-game homestand against the Reds, and then finally a 3-game homestand against the Dodgers with 1 game in October. That's where we stand. In terms of injury updates, some bad news on that front. Obviously, last episode, Yankiel Fernandez ruptured the tendon in his finger and had a season-ending injury. So his season cut short. And then off-stream, Chase Dollander picked up a strained forearm. And at this point, no real reason to have him pitch through a moderate day-to-day injury. So Dollander's season is over. Not good by any stretch of the imagination. I think the experiment of moving him to long relief this season was a failure. At present, I will probably look to move him in the offseason, but we'll see how things shake out. So in response to Dollander going on the IL, I have called up Anthony Molina back, who the AI in AAA used as a starter, which is a little annoying. I moved him to reliever 3 times, and they kept moving him back. So the AI wins that round. Molina has essentially like a week and a half to just prove that he got it together, or else we're just not going to bring him back in arbitration because currently he's making just under 5.2 million and his projected salary for next year is 6. So this may be the end of the Anthony Molina time in Colorado, which is sad. But without further ado, let us begin the series against the Diamondbacks. First up, we have Gabriel Hughes on the mound against lefty Tommy Henry, who it looks like they had in a long relief role the majority of the season. In terms of our lineup down the stretch, I think I'm going to play the kids a lot more and sort of rotate some of the starters and the guys that have been here for a while. Joe Lamp, I spoke about a little bit, who I'm kind of reducing his at bats a little bit, as I think it's become clear he's going to be a backup for us next season. So to that end, CJ Kafis is going to take left. He has not done great so far. 64 plate appearances. He only has 5 runs, 8 hits. Did get a home run, but nothing too spectacular from him. So without further ado, let us begin game one against the Diamondbacks. Begin the good old fashioned swivel. And Cole Carrig will get us started. And he gets us started with a nice lead-off double. Could even be a triple if he's very bold. He is very bold. Cole Carrig is in for a lead-off triple to get us started. That'll play. How Yuli hits it deep right center field. Gone. What a beautiful first inning this has been so far. That's home run number 27 for How Yuli. And as I cannot stress enough, he is 25 years old. And yes, this recent games page is correct. He has had 5 homers in the last 4 games. That'll play. All right. Luis Angel Acuna, who I'm giving a bit more reps down the stretch, mainly in place of Bregman at third, to see if he could be, backup utility infielder for us next season, because that has not been an easy position for us to find ever since How You Lee made the permanent switch to second. So if I could get, Acuna going, that would make my life a lot easier from a roster building perspective. But we get 2 runs in the first. Gabriel Hughes having a bit of trouble here. Soft grounder back. Got 1, but Caldwell is on third. No issue. He'll strike out Groover. No problem. See? Never a doubt, he says, even though Groover has single-handedly destroyed us. Nolan Shanuel has gotten the lion's share of DH reps down the stretch. For us, he's been pretty good. 375 on base percentage, 821 OPS. Pretty solid DH numbers. Obviously, the big thing to consider with whether or not to keep Nolan for next season is he can only play DH. His rating in first base isn't great. We've played him there about 10 times, so have the Angels. He's at a negative zone rating, airing both sides, so not a great option, especially if Condon gets injured. I don't know how I'd feel about Nolan Shanuel being an everyday DH. So that is something to keep in mind. As Ezekiel Tovar hits it deep to left field. Well, that'll be a nice double for our shortstop, who without question has had a down year, especially in the power department. Last season, he hit nearly 30 home runs. This year, he's only at 17. Probably suggesting that last year was just lightning in a bottle, and he's probably good for mid-teens, low 20s home runs a season. Clean second for Hughes. Acuna strikes out with How Yuli on second. Condon hits it deep left center field. That ball is gone. The animation made it look like it was short of the yellow line, but who cares about that? 409 feet for Charlie Condon. 4-0. And at this point, we are playing for pride, don't get me wrong, but we're also playing to see, one, if the guys who've been red hot this year can sustain it the rest of the way. And two, a lot of these guys are playing for roster spots next year, so every at bat, every inning they can get definitely helps as Cole Carrig pops up to end the inning. Gabriel Hughes has run into a spot of trouble here in the fourth. Getting Moreno to pop up, that helps. All right, let's get Molina warming up. Alfredo Lara hits it deep to the wall and left. That's going to score both runners. And he gets in with a triple. All right, that's going to be the end of the day for Hughes, I think. Well, no, Molina's only cold. Never mind, you get Gavin. Hit the second. How you Lee gets it. You want Hughes to face Jahmai Jones, current Detroit Tigers legend in the save. Never got called up to Detroit. Lame. Jahmai Jones hits it softly to Tovar. The throw. Got him. All right. Gabriel gets out of the inning, which is good. Nothing for us in the fifth, though. All right, Molina. Not like this. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I mean, Molina essentially has a week and a half to do better than he has at any point this season. So far, not looking great. But if he can get a strikeout on Corbin Carroll, never mind. All right, that's going to score Perdomo. Pretty decent throw, though. Not going to get him. Jeez, has Molina gotten to a full count on every hitter? He's on 30 pitches. I legitimately think he has as he strikes out Ketel Marte. Yeesh. Hey, solo home run from Hunter Goodman. That'll play. All right, we'll get Seth Halverson warming up. Hopefully Molina can get us the entire sixth, but I have my reservations about that. He does get Moreno to fly out. Here's Lara. Gets him to pop up. Very good. All right, last batter. Gavin Killen. Highland? No way of knowing. All right, not the greatest outing from Molina, but I'll take it. CJ Kafis, who, to be blunt, has yet to be able to hit a baseball. But I think we're going to still give him some reps down the stretch to see if he could be in contention for, backup outfield spot next season. It's always tough for corner outfielders that really only play one corner. Like Yankiel Fernandez can really only play right field. CJ Kafis can really only play left field. And if Nolan Shanuel is going to be our DH, things get a little shaky. Here's Acuna with a full count. Hits it to third. The throw gets him. All right, so from Molina, 2 innings of work, 2 walks, and a strikeout. Gabriel Hughes got charged with the earned run, so that is what it is. Halverson, don't. Caldwell. Neat. 2 speedsters on the base paths. And Corbin Carroll gets that down and right. Halverson, you were doing so well this month, buddy. I say that. That might be recency bias. Is that a true statement? September. No, he has not been doing that great, to be fair. All right, I'm going to warm up Sam Groover. The throw home. Did we get him? Nice. Got the runner at home. Let's see if he can get Ketel Marte. And he does. All right. Nice work there from Halverson to get out of it. But the Diamondbacks keep chipping away at our lead. I miss when we were up 4-0. Those were the days. Nothing from Condon or Goodman. And Nolan Shanuel strikes out. Yeah, not great when you're Goodman and Nolan aren't hitting the ball. All right, Sam for the eighth. Light work. And then Munoz will get ready for the ninth. I think I'll have Joe Walker hit here. And he strikes out. Man, they're taking care of our hitters since we had those opening innings. As Tovar gets aboard with a nice single. Come on, Kafis. Soft grounder to second. They get Tovar at second, and they get Kafis at first. Oh boy. Not great from the lads. All right, here's Munoz. Easy work. I say that when he walked two batters. It's fine. All right, we beat the Diamondbacks in game one, 5-4. Tovar, How You Lee with a couple hits. Lee, Condon, and Hunter Goodman with home runs. A win is a win. Personal message from who? Oh, players retiring. Okay. One also thing to keep in mind with Nolan Samuel is Romeo Sanabria, who currently is in AAA for the third straight season, is essentially where's Nolan? He is like a worse version of Nolan Samuel, and they're the same age. So if we keep Nolan Samuel, we need to trade Romeo. And if we don't keep Nolan, then I think we need to give Romeo some reps to see if he can become sort of the same level of player that Nolan can. All right, let's get to game two against the Diamondbacks. We have Mr. Herrera on the mound. They have River Ryan with an 80 fastball, 70 curve. Oh boy. We're doomed. All right, so it looks like Hunter Goodman is getting the day off. Dario is going to catch. Let's give Cole Carrick the day off. Stephen Kwan can bat sixth in right field. Kafis can bat ninth in left. All else equal. All right, so rock and roll. Joe Lamp leading us off today. Cole Carrick got a leadoff triple last game, Joe, so good luck. This is also a battle for third place in the NL West because unlikely we'll be able to catch the Dodgers, but we could get ahead of the Diamondbacks as Joe Lamp flies out to right. Not much doing there. How Yuli is aboard at second for Condon, who hits it softly to first. And they go for the throw there, so Condon is safe. Be very entertaining to see what that looked like if it happened in real life. Nolan, infield pop-up. Start the tracker. Down he goes. All right, we threaten. We do not score. Story of our life. Already an error. Goodbye. Bregman at third. I think that's officially a career high in errors for him, which isn't great. Runners at the corners. Charlie Condon hits it up to left, but it dies in shallow left. Reese Hines is aboard. Come on, Herrera. Caught by Kafis. Nothing through three for either team. Nolan Samuel, though, is at second, and they hit Tovar. That's just rude. Here's Dario. And nah. It's not going to advance anybody. All right, CJ Kafis, be a hero. And he hits it down, and it's down in right field. I am not going to run on Reese Hines with his 70 arm. You out of your mind game. All right, Joe Lamp, bases loaded. And he hits it up to left. Caught easily. Once again, we threaten. We do not score. But now How You Lee is on second. And Nolan Samuel strikes out looking. This feels like a game we're going to lose by like 1 or 2 runs. Clean through 5 for Herrera. He's on 73 pitches. So he's definitely getting there. Stephen Kwan with a solo home run. Look at him go. Tovar grounds out. Come on, Dario. Send the ball to space. He does not. Sends it straight at Perdomo. CJ Kafis with a nice full count. Hits it down the left field line. That's an easy double. Okay. It's a 2-hit day for CJ. I think that's the first 2-hit day of his career, but we don't need to talk about that. And Joe Lamp grounds out to first to end the inning. But we drew first. Okay, who do I want to warm up here? I would like Vodnik, please. But Herrera gets through the 6th. No issue. Never mind, Vodnik. Sit down. Matt Chachik can get ready. I'm going to pinch hit here for Hao-Yu Lee and let Mason White get the at-bat against the lefty. It's not that I don't trust Hao-Yu Lee against lefties. Mason White goes down swinging. Bregman pops up. You know what? At least he hit the baseball. That's how low the bar is right now for half my lineup. And Condon pops up. I think the infield pop-up tracker is now at 5. All right, good work from Herrera today. Mason White will take second. Herrera gets me 6 shutout innings, 5 Ks for his trouble. Chachik for the 7th. Alfredo Lara is aboard. Gavin Killen hits it back up to Tovar. The throw got him. Cool. Good work from Chachik. Now I will warm up Zerpa. For the 8th, I'll let Nolan Samuel face the lefty. And he flies out to right. Not much there, I'm afraid. Stephen Kwan responsible for our only run thus far. Now he gets down into left. Very good from Stephen. Tovar. Insurance run? Insurance run? And fielder's choice. But at least Kwan's in scoring position now for Dario. Dario hits it up, and down it goes. Caught in right. The left on base column in the box score is going to be grim for today. Zerpa gets a clean 8th. Very good. And now for the save, Munoz is at 84%. I think I'm still going to have him warm up for it. CJ Kafis 2-hit day so far. Hits it deep to center. It's down at the wall. Make it a 3-hit day for the kid. Good on him. That raised his on-base percentage by 30 points, his slugging by 66, his OPS by 90. Good for him. All right, I am going to pinch hit here. Cole Carrig is going to hit for Joe Lamp. Carrig grounds out to second, but Kafis is at third. Bring him home, Mason. Mason struck out looking. And Bregman gets there on the error from Perdomo. That's a second run. Come on, Condon. Condon is walked. Cutter Crawford in from the bullpen. Nolan January sharply hit the first, but down he goes. Okay. We get one insurance run. And then Cole Carrick is going to take center, and Munoz will be in. That said, I'm going to warm up Dre Jameson in case this gets out of hand. And Reese Hines immediately decided to make it get out of hand with a leadoff double. Fair enough. Quite rude. Oh, Zerpa's still in. It popped up and said, sit down, Munoz, not insert Munoz. Oh, that's annoying. Why is it so finicky? All right, Munoz in for the ninth. All right, he strikes out Nolan Jones. Corbin Carroll's pinch hitting now. Strikes him out swinging also. Kettle Marte, last out. And he walks. I'll let Munoz face Lara. 2-2 count. Back up to Tovar. The throw. Got him. We beat the Diamondbacks 2-0. Well done for the lads. A bit annoying that I left Zerpa in there for one more batter, but that is what it is. Shout out CJ Kafis with a 3-hit day. Good on him. I mean, odds are he won't make the team next year, but it's a nice little fun. Whoa, Brody Brecht retires. Oh, he tore his elbow ligament. Oh, buddy. I mean, that's rough. At the start of the save, he was one of our top prospects. And then, unfortunately, the whole save, like elbow ligament reconstruction surgery in May 2025. Then back spasms, ulnar nerve injury. 2027, he herniates his disc twice. Heart palpitations are crying out loud. And then he missed most of this year with surgery to remove a bone spur. And now another elbow ligament reconstruction surgery, and he is done. That's rough. That is rough. He was really good too. He was really good in 2027. And I am on record saying, had he not gotten injured in spring training, he was going to be in that long relief bullpen conversation. All right, Brody Brecht retires. That sucks. All right, let me sim game 3 of the Diamondback series with Jose Fleury on the mound. We lose it 1-2, and we lose Cole Carrick for the rest of the season. I'm never simming a game again. Cole Carrick gives up a run. Sam Hedges gives up the other one. Or excuse me, Cole Carrick gives up a run. That would be impressive. Jose Fleury gives up the run. Trey Jameson does well. Oh, they went on a walk-off? They went on a walk-off. Good for the fans. All right, Cole Carrick out for the season, which, to be fair, at this point is like a week and a day. So his stat line ends. I think he did a little worse than last year in terms of counting numbers, but home runs were up. Ks were also insanely up. It's insane. But some bright spots there. So, in terms of who do I call up to give a little bit of reps at the end of the year, I think I am going to call up the aforementioned Romeo Sanabria to get some reps at like DH and maybe first. Against righties, I mean, this just means Kafis is going to get a lot more opportunity. And then Joe Lamp will just go back to being center fielder against lefties. All right. That is what it is, and we are officially eliminated from playoff contention. To be fair, the fact that it took until September 24th, we were 20 games below 500 in August. feel like all things considered, we held on for a bit. So, all right, let's play the finale against the Diamondbacks. We have Bobby Miller on the mound. They have Brandon Fant, who is injured. I guess the back stiff. I don't know how back stiffness wouldn't influence throwing, but whatever. So Howley's going to get the day off. I'm going to give Nolan Shanuel the rest. Romeo is going to bat. Yeah, second I think is fine. And then, yeah, everything else is as is. Get us started, lads. 3 up, 3 down. And an error already. Who by? Hunter Goodman. They don't get any runs, though. All right, Charlie Condon leadoff double. And Walker strikes out. Down he goes. Hunter Goodman making up for the error, hits it deep to left field. That ball is gone. 2-run shot, 378 feet. Good for Goodman to kind of get some of that power back that had eluded him for a lot of this season. Tovar grounds out. Here's CJ Kafis. Got 3 hits last time. And he's making up for it here. Deep left field. Gone. A 2-home-run inning. Kafis with a solo shot. 346 feet. Good on him. And Mason White is hit. Oh, there's a fight. It's a brawl. The benches are emptying. Zah. Is he going to tell me how long he's suspended for? 4 games. Mason, buddy, you've only played in 15 up until this point. You can't be getting suspended. What an idiot. All right, Acuna is going to come in. Oh, that's funny. That's actually hilarious. I like my backup infielder who's barely played, just got called up this month. He's like, I'm tired of this. I want to fight Brandon Fant. Oh, wait, they suspended Fant also. That's hilarious. To be fair, the AI will probably put him on the IL at that point because of his back. As a very nice ball gets down there in right. Triple for Joe Lamp. That'll do. Oh, I can't believe Mason White went and got suspended. That's only our second player suspension this year, with Herrera being the first. Romeo Sanabria flies out to end the inning, but we got 4 runs on him. So second base, Acuna will take second. You got this, Bobby. They got a run on us. Hey, solo home run for Hunter Goodman. And now runners on second and third. Romeo, go forth. Flew out to right. It's killing me. Yeah, I think Romeo. Feel like we need to find a new home for him. At this point, he's essentially spent 3 full seasons in AAA. Like, we're not doing him any favors by keeping him there any longer. The ball gets down from Ely's. 1 run scores. See, this is one of the things I've always had a problem with out of the park baseball's animation. Based on what happened there, Tovar should have just handed the ball to Acuna, and Peyton Ely's is out at second. Like, based on what that animation was showing, that's what should have happened. Reese Hines clobbers the ball deep to right, but caught at the warning track. I think that's going to be it for Bobby Miller. So we're going to get Herrera in for the 5th. Jordan Walker is aboard. Here's Goodman, already 2 home runs today, and he's adding another RBI to his number. A nice double. I really think Drew Romo, like, getting traded is the moment Hunter Goodman was like, okay, I need to actually be great now. Tovar striking out on 3 pitches. Yeah, not great from Bobby Miller. 4 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks. That might be his last. No, he's gonna have one more start. He'll face the Dodgers, I think. Herrera's on 24 pitches. I think we'll get Vodnik ready. But first, Bregman, 2 runners on. Thrown out at third. Down he goes. All right, 4-run lead. Let's bring Vodnik in. Clean 6, and he's only on 8 pitches, so he's going to get the 7th also. 2 runners aboard. Tovar, don't strike out. To be fair, he didn't strike out. Can't be mad. He flew out, but, CJ Kafis threw on count. Don't swing, don't swing, don't swing. Good man. Kafis walks. Bases loaded for Acuna. Send it. And it gets down in center field. That's going to score 1. To home goes Goodman. 2 RBI single for Acuna. Filling in for the suspended immediately Mason White. All right, Vodnik. I have faith in you. There we go. He gets Corbin Carroll swinging. How about Groover? Up to Tovar. The throw. Got him. Great work from Vodnik. It has not been a good year for him overall, but that helps. I think I'll have Halverson come in and just try to get 2 innings from him. Romeo strikes out. Bregman trying to avoid going 0 for 5. He goes 0 for 5. Condon strikes out also. Not a great day for our 2, 3, 4 hitters. All right, Halverson in for the 8th. Oh boy. I mean, we have a 6-run lead. Not that worried. But I also wanted Halverson's pitch count to stay low. Don't think I'm getting that wish, but he does get 2 straight strikeouts. So Zerpa is going to have to take the 9th. I'm going to have Stephen Kwan pinch hit here for Walker, who is a dynamite pinch hitter. This time he lines out 800 as a pinch hitter, which I think is literally just 4 for 5 prior to this. Goodman strikes out. Tovar also goes. We got 1 for 15 from Bregman, Condon, Tovar. That hurts me emotionally. All right, Kwan goes to right. Zerpa is going to get the 9th no matter what. Oh boy, he's really testing that theory, isn't he? Like, I do not have another bullpen guy with a stamina above, or a fatigue above like 80 right now. So Zerpa's just going to have to get out of it. Groover gets it down and left. Oh boy. Kafis tried. Didn't work, but he tried. Kettle Marte now. I don't know what has happened to Zerpa this season, but man, he walked him right now. Well, tying run is at the home plate right now. I'm going to warm up Molina, but I really don't want to put him in. Lara gets it down. That's going to score probably 2. No, just 1. All right. Last batter. Double play or a strikeout. Strikeout, okay. Do I want Zerpa to face Miguel Amaya? Sure, why not? And Amaya pops out. Good Lord. Well, not good from Zerpa, it must be said. But the rest of the bullpen, very strong. Hunter Goodman, 2 home runs. CJ Kafis got a home run also. But I mean, come on. Bregman, 0 for 5. Condon, 1 for 5. Tovar, 0 for 5. Like, when those guys are getting us goose eggs, we're in trouble. All right, Mason White suspended 4 games. In other words, he is out for the entire Red Series and then one of the Dodgers series. So I think if I put him on the restricted list, duration of their suspension. Okay, so Mason White's going on the restricted list, and so John Gazdar, welcome back. I'm just calling up all the old friends at this point, really. So Gazdar can come in for Hao Yuli like one of these games. Also, Hao Yuli got Player of the Week, went 14 of 22, which is a 636 average, 5 home runs, 9 RBIs. He has a 1300 OPS in September. What an insane performance. And that's with going 0 for 4 against the Diamondbacks. All right, let us begin the series against the Reds. We got Chase Burns, their former pitcher. They have Hunter Green on the mound. Hunter Goodman and Tovar both tired. So let's have Hao Yuli bat second. And I need a DH. Do I want Acuna at shortstop? No, I really don't. We're going to have John Gazdar take short. Acuna is going to take third for Bregman. I lied. Hao Yuli's going to hit third. Acuna second. Gazdar 9. Kafis 7. Nolan Shanuel. Whoops. Nolan Shanuel second. Acuna 6. There we go. All right. Lots of rotation today. As Tovar, Bregman, Goodman, Kwan all on the bench. Surely, oh, Chase. I have faith in you. Never punish. All right, Nolan Shanuel is aboard for Hao Yuli. And he grounds out, but he does move Nolan to third, which I will take. Here's Condon. Pops it up. Nothing doing. Down goes Frazier. Nothing in the second for either team. Jose Suri with a solo shot. And Condon lies out to left, and that fun as both Gazdar and Hao Yuli were aboard. I mean, Gazdar, similarly to Romeo, like, hasn't hit the ball well in the majors at all, but we'll give a handful more bats down the stretch. They're starting to get to Chase Burns quite a bit. Joe Lamp on third for Nolan. Strikes out. Come on, man. Oh, boy. Well, Chase, I'm going to be honest. I don't have a great amount of bullpen guys available. So if you could get out of this inning, I would greatly appreciate it. As he strikes out both McLean and Bellinger. Here's Arroyo. Hits it back to Gazdar. The throw. Got him. Runners on second and third. 0 outs. And the Reds can't score him. Meanwhile, we have yet to get a run. Clean seventh from Molina. Uh-oh. Is Molina injured? Man, We're dropping like flies. Can't we just end the year healthy? Is that too much to ask? As Dre Jameson comes in, gets me a nice clean inning. Oh boy. Come on, Dre. And there we go. He strikes out Banfield. Can he get Marte? No. The answer to my question is no. I'm gonna warm up Chachik in case he can't get McCarthy. Hit to first. Condon takes it. All right. Well, we now have to score 3 runs in the bottom of the ninth. First up, Charlie Condon. Always a threat to hit a solo shot to the moon. He walked. Okay. Here's Jordan Walker. Hits it back up to center. That's going to be caught. Not much doing there. Acuna hits it right to second, and an error. Oh, no. Oh, no. Sal Stewart, with impeccable defensive rating, throws the error. And now all of a sudden, 2 runners are on. I'm going to have Stephen Kwan pinch hit here for CJ Kafus. Kwan gets it down in right field. That advances the runners. Bases are now loaded for Dario Leverde. And he hits it deep right field. Gone. Walk-off grand slam for the young catcher. 419 feet. That'll do. Wonderful from Dario. Only his 3rd home run so far since we acquired him. Somebody get him that ball to sign immediately. Pretty okay from Chase Burns. I think 9 hits. It's a pretty high number. But other than that, Glads did pretty good. All right, Molina has a mild oblique strain. He's out for 1 day. All right. I think I'll play the second game of the Red Series, and then we'll sim the finale. Charlie Condon is tired, so Nolan Shaniel is going to take first. Yeah, Dario's definitely getting the start at catcher. That took me so long to say. Gazdar is also tired, which is kind of rough. I think honestly, I'll go with this group, and then and then let's have Romeo hit 7th. All right, so Hunter Goodman's gonna get a second straight, just day to chillax. All right, Joe Lamp at second. Nolan strikes out on 3 pitches. Bregman gets it down to third. That will advance Lamp. I'll take it. Here's how you leave. And he is hit. Don't be injured. 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 Not. Hold on. He got hit in the head. No. Get him out. Get him out. Get him out. Nope. 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 I don't even care. He's probably fine. I don't care. I'm not risking anything. Gazdar can come in. I don't care. I am objectively making my offense worse by subbing How Yuli out, but I don't care. The man got hit in the head. I am risking nothing. That man could win like NL second baseman of the year. He's resting. And Gazdar hits in to the fielder's choice. Nothing for either offense. Oh, boy. You can get Matt McLean. I believe in you. Got him swinging. Can he get Bellinger? Nah, that's going to be deep enough to score Ellie without question. It's probably already home. Teleported there. All right, Arroyo hits it deep to center, down in front of Lamp. That's going to score the other runner also. That is one thing with Lamp at center over Carrick. Lamp has great range, but his arm is just quite poor. So the odds he's going to throw a lot of guys out from center. Not high, as Romeo and Jordan Walker are aboard for Dario, the hero of last game. This time around hits into an inning-ending double play. All right, let us get Chachik warmed up in case Gabriel has trouble. No trouble. He struck out McLean once. He can do it again. See? All right. Bellinger will be the last batter Hughes faces one way or the other. And he gets it down and right. That might score Luis. And it does. Throw's not there in time. All right. We'll bring Chachik on to face Arroyo. Arroyo pops it foul. Grabbed by Bregman. Once again, our run production in this series is leaving much to be desired. Romeo with 2 runners on for glory, struck out in 3 pitches. Killing me, Smalls. Chachik, I believe in you. Never punished. We'll have Herrera take the 8th. But first, Kafis is at second for Joe Lamp. Line out to left. That's not going to move anybody. Nolan Shanuel has very much cooled off since I mentioned that he could be our full-time DH next year. Has he even had a hit since I said that? He has had 1. Because I said that at the beginning of the Diamondback series. He's had 1 hit since I said that. Oh boy, that is pretty funny. Herrera for the 8th. Clean. He's on 13 pitches. We'll see. We get a run on the board from Jordan Walker's RBI double. Tovar, the tying run, hits it deep to left field. Gone. New ball game in the bottom of the 8th. 399 feet. In that case, Munoz is going to come in for the 9th. I'm going to pinch hit here. Hunter Goodman is going to take the bat for Romeo. And Goodman grounds out to short. Here's Dario. And he gets it down in right field. We have a base runner as he slides in to second. All right, I'm going to pinch hit here once again. Stephen Kwan in for Kafis. And Kwan rifles it to right field. That ball is down. Kwan is in at second. Very nice. Dario in easily. We take the lead. We have scored 4 runs this inning. Joe Lamp keeps us going, hits it to the right field wall. Kwan scores. That's 5. As Lamp is going for the triple, and he gets there. All right, Nolan. There we go. Hits it to right field. That is 6 runs in the 8th inning, and we're still going. Here's Bregman. Strikes out swinging to end our fun, but we score 6 runs in the bottom of the 8th. Munoz is going to come in for the save, and it's clean. We beat the Reds 6-3. Unfortunate for Louis Varland. He looks like he's been pretty strong, and we just shelled him. 5 hits, 5 earned runs. Very nice from the lads. Good day from the bullpen also. They went 3 1/3, 3 hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks. Pretty good. All right, the finale against the Reds, I will sim with Herrera on the mound. We win it 13-7. Goodman, Condon, Shanuel, Kafis, all with home runs. Kafis, 4-hit day, 4-run day. Look at the lad. Very nice from him, but Bregman gets 2 hits. Walker gets 2 hits. Very nice. Very nice. Hao-Yu Lee has gone cold ever since his shout out in the newspapers. Molina got popped for 2 runs. Herrera didn't do great either. I think that's Herrera's last start of the season also. So that raised his ERA by quite a bit. Oh boy. Oh, he hit the cycle. I missed a cycle. That's what I get for simming. Yep, double, single. Look at Kafis with the cycle. Good for him. That's on his BNN page, surely now. Yeah, hits for the cycle. Good on him. All right, time for the final series of the season. Oh, Gabriel Hughes, I guess, also made his last start of the year against the Reds. But pretty good series so far. I mean, we took 3 of 4 from the Diamondbacks, swept the Reds in 3. Pretty good. If only we had played like this earlier in the season. Oh, boy. All right. Jose Fleury is going to get us game 1. No one is tired. Bregman is cold, despite the fact he just had a 2-hit, 2-run day. I think I'm going to give Hao-Yu Lee the day off in game 1. Gazdar can take second. Romeo can DH. It's going to move everyone up 1, essentially. And Joe Livingston pretty good. I'm going to have Kafis hit. Not only that, Kafis, my man, you're going to hit second. Okay, he's hitless when he's hitting second. Maybe not. Kafis, my man, you're hitting 9th. Gazdar can take 8. All right. So a lot of starters are sitting. Nolan Shanuel, Hao-Yu Lee, Bregman, Kwan. So, but it's the last series of the year. Let's rotate some lads. Jose Fleury, clean-ish first. Taylor Ward solo shot. Fair enough. No, Will Smith 2-run homer. Not going great for Jose. Gazdar strikes out swinging. Kafis strikes out looking. Lamp strikes out swinging. Not great from our lineup thus far. Only 1 hit through the turn. And Jose Fleury is getting destroyed out there, it must be said. Oh boy, I really don't want his ERA to get to 5. I think it might. Cowser hits it back up to Fleury. The throw to second. And it gets the runner. I'm going to bring in Halverson to face Mookie Betts. And Betts gets it down in center field. That's going to score one. And the Dodgers are up 4-0 with Will Smith up. Howerson walks Will Smith. Oh boy. Josh Naylor rifles it to Condon, who takes it. All right. Not looking great thus far, it must be said, but we have a run, and Hunter Goodman is on third. As Tovar hits it deep to left field, the ball is down at the warning track. We get another run back as Tovar is in at second. Here's Jordan Walker. Wild pitch. Interesting that the catcher sprints back now. Previously, he would walk very slowly. Walker gets the ball down in center. I don't know what that animation made Jack Swinsky do, but I'll take it. It's John Gazdar strikes out swinging. We got 3 runs back. That ain't too shabby. Halverson, you're killing me. Sung Kim hits it softly to third. The throw gets him. Good work there from Acuna. I think I'll bring Vodnik in for Jung Ho Lee. Hits it softly to second. Thus ends the inning. Nothing for us in the 5th. Cowser at second. I'm not worried. A lot of wild pitches today. There we go. He gets Mookie Betts swinging. How about Will Smith? Softer to Acuna. No throw. Which I guess is fair. We're going to warm up Sam Hentges. Josh Naylor flies out to right to end the inning. Good work from Vodnik there. 2 clean innings. Meanwhile, our offense not doing great. Man, they're getting so many hits on us. Ball gets down. This could get ugly. Sung Kim hits it deep to left. That's going to be caught. The throw in, not in time to get Taylor Ward. Dodgers get a 5th run, and now I have to warm up Chachik when I really don't want to. Man. Not Sam Hentges' best time, must be said. Get Tommy Edman swinging. I have the sneaking suspicion the Dodgers are good at this whole baseball thing. And Hentges' ERA climbs and climbs and climbs. All right, Chachik. All right. Clean. He is also quite tired, and I'm running low on bullpen arms, despite having 32 of them. Nothing in the 8th. Herrera for the 9th. I gotta be honest, kid. You're just gonna have to eat it. There we go. Gets Cowser to line out. Mookie Betts goes down swinging. Will Smith, though, hits it deep to center, and that ball is gone. 3-run shot by Will Smith. Herrera almost got out of the jam. Couldn't quite do it. Gets Josh Naylor swinging, but too little, too late. 10-3 ball game. Can we score 7 runs? We do have 2 runners on. Jordan Walker hits it softly to short. And they get the runner at second. Fair enough. We are going to pinch hit here. Bregman, I believe in you. Grounds into a fielder's choice. All right, we lose game one 10-3. We allow 17 hits, which is insane. A couple of our bullpen guys get rocked. But that is what it is. Oh, Mason White can be activated. So John Gazdar, who I called up, he made 3 starts, got 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk, 3 Ks in 8 bats. Send him back down to AAA. Mason White can come back. All right, let us play the second to last game of the season. Bobby Miller on the mound for us. Who do I want out there? I think Lee can hit third. Acuna can hit second. Tovar, I'm going to give the day off to. Mason White can take short. I think I'll do Nolan Shanuel can hit sixth in place of Goodman. Stephen Kwan, who has not had a start in a while, can take right for Jordan Walker at fifth. All right. Here we go. Lee is aboard at second. Condon gets it down in left field. Lee scores. Very nice, very nice. Nice work there from Condon. And Kwan is walked. Nolan Shanuel now with a full count also, and he is walked. Bases loaded for perennial star Mason White. Rifles it down the right field line. Beautiful, sir. 1 run will score. In comes Kwan, and Mason White with a 2 RBI double. Well done, sir. Dario now with a full count himself strikes out swinging. All right, Bobby, you got this. Clean second. Uh-oh. Who was the error? Lee at second. Not great. Tommy Edman hits it softly to first. They get him, but both runners advance. Darian Blanco flies out to right. That'll definitely score one of them. Never mind. Jung-Ho Lee decides not to test the arm of Stephen Kwan. Mookie Betts is walked. Josh Naylor hits it to Condon. Taken to first. Woo. Bobby Miller gets out of the jam. And now he finds himself in another one as 2 runners are aboard for Jung-Ho Lee, who is struck out. Nice work. Luis Rengifo gets it down in right field. Kwan the throw. No runners score. Bases loaded. Tommy Edman strikes out on an 0-2 count. Look at Bobby Miller getting himself into bases loaded jams and then getting out of it. Oh, boy. Dario hits it up to center. Nothing there. CJ Kafus cooled off since his cycle, and now he is ruthlessly hit. Joe Lamp gets it down. We have life. Acuna Wild pitch. Do I want Acuna to bunt here with his speed? Sure, why not? That's why he missed the bunt. I'm taking that as an omen. Hit. And Acuna hits it deep to center. That is off the inopportune fencing. Both runs will score, and Acuna finds himself at second. That'll do. They're keeping Alvaro in, probably to save their bullpen, though I don't think they're in the wild card right now. As Hao Yu Lee hits it deep, and it is down in right field. Very nice, sir. Acuna, you better have scored. Yeah, he did. Sweet. The camera just didn't want to show me, to be fair. Condon flies out. And Stephen Kwan grounds out to the inning. But we get 3 more runs. I suspect this is going to be the last inning for Bobby Miller. Clean 5th. Yeah, I don't have a lot of bullpen help, though, so he might need to give me the 6th. And again, I only have 1 game left after this. As Shanuel beats out the infield single there. That's funny. All right, Mason White. Flies out the center. Nothing doing. All right, Dario. Strikes out swinging. CJ Kafis, our last hope. And he gets it down in right field. Nolan will go first to third. Here's Joe Lamb. Is walked. Bases loaded for Acuna. Already 2 hits today. Can he get a third? Maybe in the next time up. Strikes out swinging. All right, Bobby. Lead off double immediately. Come on, get Sawinski. All right, he strikes out Sawinski. Taylor Ward with a full count. Hits it to third. The throw in error by Acuna. Yeah. It's that animation, man, where the third baseman goes down and throws very quickly. Zerpa's going to come in to face Jung Ho Lee. That's so disappointing. One of these days I'll have a clean defensive game, but not today. As Lee lines out to center, the throw home, not in time to get Will Smith. So that's 1 run to Bobby Miller's tally. And when Gifo strikes out looking. All right. Not a bad start from Bobby Miller to end his season and potentially his Rockies career. But we don't talk about that. Nolan Shanuel walked once again. That is his 3rd time walked today. As Mason White is up with the bases loaded and he pops it up. Man. All right, Dario hits it softly to second. The throw, plenty of time to spare. We threaten. We do not score. 3 errors now as Hao Yulia picks up a 2nd error. And the Dodgers have 2 runners on and a shot to center field over the head of Joe Lamb. What was once a pretty good lead now becomes a close one. They only scored 1 run on that, which is kind of crazy. Josh Naylor pop up there is big. And a wild pitch. Scores Blanco. Nice line out there. We're going to get Jameson ready for the 8th. Here's Jack Sawinski. Hits it to second. The throw gets him. All right. Good work there. But it is now a 6-3 ball game, and they have cut the lead in two. Dre Jameson for the eighth. Clean work. Let's pinch hit here, mainly because the errors are terrifying me. Ezekiel Tovar will pinch hit. And Tovar flies out to center. Condon lines out to second, which means, unfortunately, Stephen Kwan, you're going to pop up to the pitcher's mound. No, but close. He pops up to short in the inning, and we go to the ninth. So Tovar is going to take short. Mason White will go to second. I don't know how Munoz isn't ready already, but so good. All right, Munoz for the ninth. Very nice, clean inning, and he gets himself his 29th save of the season. I mean, the errors really were the only reason that was a close game. But I think Bobby Miller pitched pretty well. Zerpa got hit a bit through 35 pitches. 2 hit days from Acuna, Lee, Condon. Very nice there, fellas. All right, let us advance to the season finale against the LA Dodgers. First player development stuff. Zerpa, nothing but red. Same with Vodnik, Munoz, Molina, Tovar. Everything is red. Goodness gracious me. I think, honestly, the two big ones there are Munoz losing stuff, his velocity going down, and then Tovar losing contact and gap. Campbell Smithwick gets a Double-A Batter of the Month award. Good for him. He's a guy that, if he develops really, really well, he could become potentially a catcher for us long term. But he did pretty well in Double-A, which is encouraging. All right, so our season finale, we're going to give the ball to Chase Burns and let him face the LA Dodgers. And who are they bringing out? They're bringing out Yoshinobu Yamamoto. The Dodgers aren't playing for anything, are they? Oh, oh no. The Dodgers need to win, and I guess the Reds lose, and then it goes to a tiebreaker. Same thing in the AL wild card. Oh, that's crazy. Oh, of course. The Tigers sell half their team and they make the playoffs. Because, of course. Well, we have a chance to send the Dodgers packing here in the finale, and they're pitching Yamamoto, which means he probably won't be available for the wild card. Okay, let us figure out who I want to hit and where. I think Joe Lamp. I'm going to. I mean, I don't really have a backup. That's the thing. I don't have a backup center fielder with Cole carrying out. So Joe Lamp is going to take center. I think CJ Kafus. I am going to let hit in left. Jordan Walker, I will sit. Juan will take right field. Nolan Shanuel can get the day off. We will have How You Lee hit second. Or do I want How You Lee's year to be over? I think I want How You Lee's year to be over. So, Kovar, you hit second for me. No. Is it time? I want Tovar to bat sixth. So Goodman's going to hit fifth. Tovar's going to bat sixth. Quan, seven. Romeo, DH, hitting eighth. Kafis hitting ninth. Mason White hitting second. That means Acuna's year is done, which I could have him hit for Bregman. But Bregman hasn't had a start in this series so far. Do I care about that? I don't think I do. Acuna. We're batting third. Let's have some fun. All right, so Lamp, White, Acuna, Condon, Goodman, Tovar, Quan, Sanabria, Kafis. That also means Dario doesn't get the start, which I think I'm okay with. Mascrit. Dario. Quan hits fifth. Romeo seventh. All right, so Hunter Goodman, Nolan Shanuel, How You Lee, Bregman, Walker all get the final day to rest. We're playing the kids. Let's see how we do in the season finale. Already down 3-0. Good. Charlie Condon, send it to the moon. There we go. Ball down in left field. We have a run. I debated having Nolan Shanuel take first over Condon, but come on. I need some hope on offense. And Charlie Condon gets me that. Stephen Kwan in right today. Flies out to center, nothing doing. All right, clean second. Oh boy. Chase, buddy, don't do this to me. Please strike out Dalton Rushing so I can at least have some semblance of hope. All right, he struck out Dalton Rushing. I have some semblance of hope. Taylor Ward hits it softly to short for second to one for first to two. He gets out of the jam. Good work. All right, here's CJ Kafis. Hits it deep. Center field. Gone. CJ Kafis' audition for the team next year continues. 435 feet for the outfielder. Look at him go. 3-2 ball game. Joe Lamp tries to beat out the infield single, and he does. Mason White now up, and he hits it sharply to second. They get Lamp, and now they turn two. Yeah, I don't think Mason White will be on the opening day roster next year. I have a sneaking suspicion Acuna walks, and they try to pick him off. Really? Have you no shame? As Acuna gets the steal. There we go. The ball gets down. Very nice there from Condon. Acuna is now on third. Stephen Kwan hits it back up the middle. It's through. Acuna makes it home. Condon goes three. And Kwan is tagged out trying to go for the double. But we do tie the ball game 3 apiece. Clean fourth for Chase Burns. And remember, the Dodgers have to win this to have a hope of the wild card. As Tovar is rudely hit. Romeo tries to make him pay, but he lines out to center. Here's Dario. Strikes out looking. And Kafis strikes out swinging. So there goes that. Oh, boy. Oh, now they're getting to Chase in the fifth. Yeah, my bullpen ain't looking the greatest right now in terms of fatigue. But he gets Naylor to fly out to center. No runners advance, which is huge. Will Smith is up. He hits it to third. The throw gets him. Double play. Well done by the infield. Chase Burns gets out of the jam. And Joe Lamp steals to get to second. And Mason White has worked a 3-0 count. If you want to walk Mason White, I am not going to object. 3-2. And he hits it deep. Right field gone. He must have heard me insult him earlier by saying he wouldn't make the opening day roster. 386 feet, his second home run. Look at our little guy go. Drafted 2 years ago. Or no, it'd be 3. Yeah. Drafted 3 years ago. Hitting home runs in the majors now. Acuna wants to add to the fun. He gets the ball down and right. And the Dodgers' playoff hopes are slipping away. Condon strikes out. Jordan Kwan, or Stephen Kwan, I should say, hits it softly. They got Tovar at first. At second. Wow. I talked too fast. Hyun Kim taken out of the game. Tovar strikes out. Yamamoto's 225th strikeout. That's pretty good. Molina is tiring, but he gets a clean sixth. All the same. I am going to pinch hit here. We're going to have Nolan Shanuel DH for Romeo against the lefty. Or excuse me, the righty. And Nolan pops up to the pitcher's mound. Dario grounds out. Not much there. Kafis rifles it towards Mookie Betts, but they get him all the same. All right, I am going to warm up. Who do I want? Halverson, in case Molina can't get the whole inning. Molina is injured with a strained elbow. So suffice to say, he will not be getting the whole inning. Halverson will come in to try to get Josh Naylor. And Naylor hits it sharply to center and is grabbed. All right. Good work there. Here's Joe Lamp, top of the order. Strikes out swinging. Mason White, his last at bat of the season, strikes out swinging. Acuna hits it to third. He might beat it out. No dice. Can I challenge that? All right, we will get Sam warming up in case Halverson can get the eighth. And 2 runners are aboard, so that's that. Sam is going to come in for Luis Rengifo. Luis hits it sharply to second for 1, for first for 2. Double play. Great work there from Sam. And Munoz will warm up for the 9th in case it's still a save situation. Here's Condon, last at bat of the season, and he strikes out looking. That means he finishes with 162 strikeouts to his name. Here's Stephen Kwan. Pops it up to the mound. All right. Ezequiel Tovar, potentially our last at bat of the season. 1-1 count. Swings in and it's back up the middle. A nice single for Tovar to keep the good times rolling. Here's Nolan Shanuel. Hits it to second. And they get him out at first. All right. Andres Munoz is in for the save with a 2-run lead. Up first, Josh Rojas is walked. Mookie Betts Hits it sharply to the pitcher for second for one. They try to get Mookie, and they get the double play. 2 outs gone. Jung Ho Lee at the plate, though to pitch, strikes him out looking. Rockies get the win, and we have denied the Dodgers a playoff berth by taking the series 2-1. The Dodgers must hate us with the passion of 1,000 suns right now, but it's fine. Great work from the bullpen overall. They gave us 4 shutout innings, 2 hits, 3 walks, 5 Ks for the trouble. Very good. Condon and Lamp with a pair of hits. Kafis, I think, doing okay. And that is that. Molina hurt with a sprained elbow. But with that, we finished the season 78-84. Now, objectively, Aaron McKeithen retired. That's a shame. Now, objectively speaking, bad season. However, look at September, people. We only lost 2 series. We lost 1-2 to the Reds, 1-2 to the Diamondbacks. We got 3 sweeps. We swept the Dodgers in 3, the Padres in 3, and then the Reds in 3. And then we ended the season with a 2-1 series win against the Dodgers. Not too bad, if I do say. All right, we are going to sim through the playoffs and get to the offseason. Chris Mahon retires, age 29. Just so I can get to the playoffs kind of quickly. Some Korean players have posted. Looks like Mariners, Orioles, Giants, and Nationals are your wild card winners. Tigers go down. What a shame. And then Rangers, Orioles, Nationals, Giants. Your final 4 teams, international free agents. I'll deal with all of that off stream, just filtering and scouting them. And Nationals take the National League pennant. Rangers take the AL. Rangers Nationals is your World Series matchup. Nationals are up 3-1, and it looks like they have taken it. Yep, Nationals take the World Series in 6 games over the Texas Rangers. Down they go. 187 score on the season. Very poor score. That is what it is. All right, let me go through. New budget, $204 million. For reference, our budget this past season was $200 million. So Charlie gave me $4 million to work with. All right, review of season goals. Team record, not great. The owner expected better. We acquired a nationally popular player. They gave it to Dre Jameson. Throughout the season, Chase Burns was the name there, but we'll take it. Attendance is up, but not to the target we want. Yeah, the farm system needs to be built a little bit. Rody Brecht obviously retired due to his injury, and we are losing assistant GM Michael Hill because, to be frank, he wanted an insane amount of money. So we will need to find a new assistant GM. Randy Howard is your new top prospect from the Athletics, who they just took 1-1 in the draft. Arbitration has begun. Developmental lab has begun. Let us save. All right, so now I'm going to take a little bit sort of reviewing the season, talking about why I think we finished below 500. sort of where we go from here. I think the main obvious point is very, very simple and won't need that much explanation. Our bullpen just regressed heavily. Um, Zerpa, who was a two-time All-Star in this save, put together his worst season. His ERA was below 4, but unfortunately, a couple bad outings down the stretch. It's a 4.17, 1.4 whip. Keep in mind, his whip was around a 1 for the past 2 years. Ks were down, walks were up, BABIP of 325. So, not a good season for him. Prior to this season, we had signed him to a 2-year extension for 6.7 million. So next year he'll make 3.75 million, and then we have an opt out after that. So very simple. If he has another bad year next season, then we void the last year of his contract. If he does well, we keep him for another year. Simple as that. Anthony Molina, I think, is the disappointment of the year for me. Last year, he gave me 100 innings, 1.3 whip, 316 BABIP, which those numbers aren't particularly impressive, but this year he just rumbled. 5.63 whip, only gave 70 innings. Keep in mind, I did demote him to AAA at one point, but 1.6 whip. Walks were up to 4. Ks were about what we expect, but a 358 BABIP, not great. I think at this point, we are going to let Molina walk in arbitration. He is an extremely popular player locally, but I think the writing's kind of on the wall here, and we're going to let him go. He has also lost a lot of his control and stuff ratings since last season. So I think we are going to see the last of Molina here. Seth Halverson also struggled mightily. He didn't have a great 2027, which is why it's not like an insane disappointment. Like he allowed 1.7 home runs per 9, 1.4 whip, yada, yada, yada. This year, Ks were up a whip of a 1.7. Like, that's just not playable. BABIP was up also. And, with Halverson, he's 28 years old. He only has 2 pitches. Granted, one of them is an 80 fastball, but his control is not developed the way we want. And this may be a time to move off of Halverson. We'll see. Victor Vodnik, copy and paste what I said about the other two to him. He got the exact same amount of innings, despite appearing in 4 less games, which that tells you something. But hits up by 6, runs up by 4, homers up by 5, walks up by 5. Ks were also up, but all of that led to a higher whip, more home runs per 9, more walks, more Ks. Not great. I will give him credit. He had a very good September. He gave me 10 shutout innings. So, it was a really inconsistent year. You would have a good month and then a bad month. Good month, bad month, good month. So I think with Vodnik, I think we'll try to get one more year out of him. See if he can continue to hold down that setup spot. But I am a little worried about him. Some guys I'm not worried about. Dre Jameson, who we signed for $1.2 million to compete in spring training. He did great, and this season, 93 innings, 2.4 ERA, 109 whip, 8 Ks per 9, almost got himself 2 WAR, and really was practically flawless throughout the season. And I think definitely has earned a shot next year with our bullpen. He expects to be a starter, and yet he doesn't really care about his role on the team. So I thought that was going to be an issue. Turns out it's not. So Dre, did really, really well. Happy for him. Sam Hedges, who we acquired at the deadline from Cleveland, I think did really well. He gave up 3 runs to the Dodgers and only got 1 out. So that kind of hurt some of his numbers, but With us, I mean, 2.5 ERA, 1.2 whip. Ks were down, walks were up. That's something to keep in mind. But a 215 BABIP, that'll play. He is signed through for one more year because this is the contract the Guardians gave him. So, Sam and Dre, they're getting up there a little bit in age, but I'm confident in them. Matt Chachik, I think, is the surprise of the season. He started in AAA, then, due to the aforementioned struggles and injuries, called him up. 47 innings, 2.7 ERA, whips below 1.3, walks were a little high, 3.6, but 9 Ks per nine, really good. He was also very solid down the stretch. Kind of struggled a little bit in July, but other than that, was lights out. I think he's definitely getting a spot in our bullpen next season. And then we must now mention a player that is no longer here with the team, Keegan Aiken, who we traded to the Astros due to his struggles in July, and he did even worse with the Astros. ERA of 5, innings were way down compared to what they were with us. 1.8 whip, 370 BABIP. So I think that was the correct move to trade Aiken. There's one trade I made I think I regret. This isn't one of them. And so that I think is a good one. Wellington Herrera, I don't know. I think he probably needs some more time in AAA, which is kind of ironic given he has 42 innings there this past year, but I think he just needs more time. I'm definitely going to work on him in the development lab, trying to get his control up. But he is a player that I think could have a bright future in that like Will Klein mold. But again, the control needs to be better. So that's our bullpen. Also not on this list, the aforementioned Will Klein, who only got 18 innings for us this year and got hit around a lot. We'll see. I mean, he's on the minimum for one more year. I might as well keep him around because he's a good AAA arm. But little shaky on him, but we shall see. Pitching staff as a whole, I mean, it's impossible to talk about without mentioning Luis De Leon, um, missing almost the entirety of this season. He was our opening day starter. He was our ace, and now he is out. He is ruptured the disc in his back, missed almost the whole season. I am petrified that he's going to lose some of his stamina and his stuff. So when he gets back, I'll have to give a new scouting report. But I mean, look, he's going to be our ace next year. That's set in stone. I just don't want him getting hurt again because that was painful. The rest of the pitchers, I think, were fine overall, but we needed them to be better. And I think nowhere is this indicated than us trading away Spencer Arrighetti to the Angels. Who with the Angels, he didn't do great. He did a little better than he did with us. But I mean, 16 starts with us, ERA of 7, whip of almost 1.6. So at a certain point, the Ks per 9 don't really matter. We traded him in June, and he just didn't have it this year, which is a shame because he was really, really good the year previous. And so we traded him away. And for about 3 of the other starters, I can copy and paste what I'm going to say for all of them. Gabriel Hughes, Bobby Miller, Jose Fleury got almost identical amount of starts and innings and were essentially the exact same pitcher. ERA in, 4-point middle, BABIP, 2.7. Bobby Miller's is pretty high. Whip around 1.3, 1.4. Ks around 7.58. These 3, Hughes, Miller, Fleury, identical pitchers this year, which is kind of an issue because I need some variety here. And with Luis De Leon coming back, I will need to make room somehow. Jose Fleury, he's the one that's probably more safe than the others. because he hasn't gotten as much time, but that is something to consider. Bobby Miller, I think, has thrown his last pitches with us. He's going to be turning to his age 30 season next year, and while I like his control and his movement, his secondary pitches have never developed, and I've tried twice now in the development lab to make that happen. And we've gotten about 3.5 seasons of production from Bobby, and overall, I think he's been fine. But these past 2 years, kind of in a step down, and he's already making 6 million next year or this year, so that number's only going to go up. We'll see what we want to do with him in the offseason. Gabriel Hughes, copy and paste what I said with Bobby Miller. I would say his worst season since 2026 when he was kind of up and down in AAA. But I mean, look, whip is 1.3. The home runs a little bit higher. He's never going to be a huge strikeout guy, which is kind of a problem. That does, give the edge a little bit to Bobby. And look, Hughes was on the minimum for the entire time he's been pitching for us. So he's just now up for arbitration. I think, in my opinion, it's silly to run back the trio of Hughes, Miller, and Fleury. I think Fleury is the safest because he's still developing. He's still on the minimum. So Hughes or Miller, we'll have to make the call on which one to leave. Herrera, combination of spent time in AAA, got suspended, got injured, whole run of things. He missed the entire 2027 season due to injury, and you wouldn't really know it because after a rehab assignment in AAA, he came up here, 23 starts, ERA of 3.8, 1.2 whip, walks were down, 8.5 Ks, good BABIP. He did really well, and I think definitely deserves a spot on our starting rotation next season. And now we bring ourselves to Chase Burns, who overall I have zero complaints whatsoever. 19 starts with us, ERA below 3, whip 1.1, home runs down from where they were with the Reds, walks way down from where they were with the Reds. This is a guy that averaged 5.5 walks per 9 at one point. Ks are up, BABIP is down, WAR of 2.3. Doing great. His control is still a 45. So that we may need to look at. But Burns, definitely, I think our number 2 starter next year. And without question, the best pitcher we had this season, with exception of the injured Luis De Leon. So I think, honestly, our rotation next year is set. Luis De Leon 1, Chase Burns 2, Herrera 3, Fleury 4, and then Bobby Miller versus Gabriel Hughes for 5. That's it. We don't need to sign any free agent starters. We got the group locked in. The final starter I will mention is one that is no longer with the team, Michael King, who we traded to the Tigers, and immediately King just started pitching like a Cy Young out of the bullpen. Did really well with the Tigers. I mean, whip a 1.8 as a sort of reliever, starter hybrid. Got himself almost one game of WAR, but unfortunately, he had an okay 2026. His 2027 sucked. Then he was injured for a calendar year. We bring him back, rehab assignment, call him up, and he gets shredded as a long reliever. And at that point, I wanted to play other guys, traded him to the Tigers in essentially a salary dump, where he did pretty well. So credit to him for that. Now, let's talk lineup. And I think the other reason that our team kind of regressed this year in terms of offense is down, I would say, mainly to 2 players not producing at the level they should. For one is Ezequiel Tovar, who my whole point going into 2027 was he has 1 year to prove that he can be a good shortstop for us. And his 2027 was very good. He had nearly 30 homers, Strikeouts were down, 555 slugging, 858 OPS. He was on fire. He was doing great. So this year we come in with a bit more optimism. We had success working on his Avoid K in the development lab, and you couldn't really tell. For all intents and purposes, his 2026 season and his 2028 season were identical in terms of games at bats. Runs up, hits up, doubles down by 10, triple up by 1, home runs a little bit up, RBIs the exact same, walks were a little bit higher, and finally Ks were the exact same. He just had pretty much a carbon copy season of his 2026 numbers, just slightly better, which is fine. I would consider this like an average season for a shortstop, maybe below average if I'm being really picky. But he's also making 11.2 million this time, and in 2026 he was making like 5 million. Next year he's making 14. Like his contract is only going to get more and more expensive. I'm obviously going to keep him around for one more year to see if he can bounce back, but it's not great. I mean, the WAR is always going to be high because he's a really good defensive shortstop, but that's something to keep in mind. And then, secondly, I think the Alex Bregman free agent signing is not looking great. Year one, I think he did fine. 3.3 WAR, pretty good. Nearly 20 home runs. 780 OPS. Then next year, he's doing great. He's on pace to shatter all of his numbers, and he gets injured for, I believe, 3 to 4 months in 2027. And so in 2028, we get a full season of work, and it's just not up to par. His on base percentage is way down. His slugging is a 390, barely a 700 OPS. WAR is in the tank. And once again, he's making 20 million again next year. So I think we're at that point where this really isn't that tradable of a contract, because whatever team takes him on, they're going to have to pay 20 million or whatever percentage of that. And then even if they do the opt out and void his contract, they have to pay him 3 million. So who knows? He also has a no trade clause, and he'll only consider a trade back to the Boston Red Sox. So that limits us with him. But I think Tovar and Bregman struggling as much as they did is what really hurt us the most offensively. Other guys, I think, Hunter Goodman, listen, let's be frank, I don't think he's going to hit 36 homers again, but his power was way down. I mean, his slugging was down by 90 points compared to where it was last season. His OPS was down by 100. He lost 2 games of WAR. Definitely a regression there. And this is a guy that we signed before the season to a 2-year, $27 million deal. He needs to turn it around, or else we could be in big, big trouble. And now, if I will pivot to the catcher that is no longer with us, Drew Romo, who I traded to the Angels. And, as I said at the time of the trade, if there is one trade I have made in the entire save, let alone this season, the entire save that I will look back on in 2-3 years and regret, it's trading away Drew Romo. Because he's great defensively, team captain, and had a below average bat for us, I would say. The problem we just keep running into is that Hunter Goodman is really good offensively, and he's only 1 year older than Drew Romo. So it's kind of an awkward thing in terms of succession. We trade him to the Angels, and he lights them on fire. He gets 8 home runs, 333 on base, 820 OPS, worth 2.4 WAR. He's looking like the catcher of the future for the Angels, which is what we kind of hoped he would be with us. As a matter of point of order, they have signed him to a 4-year, $24 million extension, which if that's like money to be their starting catcher, that is a bargain. Meanwhile, we're paying Hunter Goodman $15 million for next year. They're paying Drew Romo 2.6. So that is something that we have to keep in the back of our mind. I think Dario, who is one of the players, along with Nolan Shanuel, we acquired in that trade with the Angels, is going to become a pretty solid backup catcher. I think he's only 23 years old. I think the avoid K is probably a little worse than 60. He struck out about once per game. He showed a little bit of power. He got 3 home runs, but obviously no one's writing home about a 274 on base or a 610 OPS. He's going to be our backup catcher, though, for at least next season, hopefully for seasons beyond. He's going to be on the minimum for a bit. It's going to be much cheaper than what Drew Romo would have cost. Is that worth it? I don't know. And then last real thing, I think, about the offense especially has to be how Yuli has arrived in tremendous fashion. I mean, we took him in the Rule 5 draft in 2026 to be a backup. Backup infielder, that's what he was, and he sucked. He was worth negative 1.2 WAR. He was a terrible defender. Wasn't great. 2027, Estrada struggles. We trade Estrada. How Yuli gets a lot of DH reps also, and he's looking pretty good. 22 homers. He walks 62 times. 327 on base, 754 OPS. He's looking good. And then this year, he makes 135 starts. Of those, 127 were at second. He's still not a great defensive second baseman. Let's get that out of the way. He had 9 errors, a zone rating of almost negative 20, which is stunning. He's not a great defensive second baseman. But did he make up for it? He had 27 home runs, 83 RBIs, and his Ks down by 35, which is insane year over year. All of that led to him having a 928 OPS. Insane. Without question. I am of half a mind to offer him the 9-year contract extension that he wants. We'll see if I decide to do it. He is just now starting arbitration after all. But, I mean, player of the year, without question, is Hao Yu Lee. He had multiple National Player of the Week awards. He had a National Batter of the Month award for June, in which his stat line reads 88 at-bats, 32 hits, 10 doubles, 7 homers, 24 RBIs, 19 runs, 9 walks, 13 Ks, all for an on-base percentage of .418, slugging of .716, and an OPS of 1,100. He was our best player last year. Without question, it's not particularly close. I think the defensive issues I can live with. If a guy has, 800 slugging, or 800 slugging, that would be a mammoth. 800 OPS. He gave me 900. So we're locked in. I'm afraid to look at his arbitration number, but that's where we're at with him. The outfield, I think, is going to be a pretty simple picture next year. First of all, we traded away Brenton Doyle, who was our starting center fielder the entirety of the save because his bat finally just completely fell out. And he didn't do that much better with the Reds, if we're being honest. He did about what he did with us, where he's going to hit, probably low teens home runs. He's going to strike out a decent amount, not really going to get on base. And for a leadoff hitter, which is what we had him on, he needs to do that. He just didn't. With the Reds, he didn't either. His on-base percentage was a .275, very little slugging to speak of. So I think the right decision to move off of Doyle. I think his is a contract that I do regret giving him that extension. I think I should have tried to do like a 1, 2 year bigger deal um, instead of locking in for a longer term. And then Cole Carrig, who found himself on the injured list to end the season, and at one time, I believe, also during the season. Yeah, he had a little head injury. Um, Carrig was really good. I think the on base percentage, slugging OPS, all of that were down. However, he only appeared in 60 games last year due to injury. So that is what it is. I think Cole Carrig at center field is probably where I'm leaning next season. He wasn't great in center, negative zone rating, but he had a positive arm. He's got the speed to hit leadoff if we need it. When I had him hitting leadoff specifically, he had a 365 on base, 891 OPS. So I think that's where I'm leaning next year, regardless of where Cole is defensively. He is going to be our leadoff hitter. The rest of the outfield, I think Joe Lamp was the biggest benefiter from the Brenton Doyle trade because it meant he could be the center fielder. He started 100 games and did, fine. Just below 700 OPS, but he had a 326 on base. Defensively at center field, he was fine. He had a few errors, but negative zone rating, positive arm. I think I'm of the camp that Joe Lamp is just going to be a backup outfielder for us next year, who I can play at any, defensive position and be pretty happy with that. Um, and that will also free up Carrick to play at which either spot I need. Stephen Kwan in the first year of his 2 year contract extension was bad. No way around it. Didn't even start 100 games. I benched him at a certain point and just didn't really have it. His on base percentage, the worst it's ever been. His WAR was down to a .2. I think right now I'm in the camp that we try to find a trade partner for him, which will be tricky. He's making 14 million next year. But even as a lefty killer, he wasn't that much better. I think he had a better slugging, but on base was about the same. He had a good end to the year in September, which I think is encouraging, but I mean, he had an equally horrendous July and August where he was unplayable. So I think we may have seen the last of Stephen Kwan with the Rockies. Jordan Walker, who similarly missed a portion of the season due to injury, came back and was fine. I think he was fine. Um, this was the first year of his contract extension we offered him, and a 306 on base is not anything to write home about. What is something to write home about, though, is a 425 slugging. He had 18 home runs and was a fairly solid offensive bat. Defensively, he has a good zone rating, but a negative 1.5 arm and right. It's a little scary. However, he's 26 years old. Might work on his eye in the development lab. We'll see. And he's a guy that I think can be a really good corner outfielder with us. So I think the outfield for next year will kind of write itself. We may need to bring in someone to either take left or center. However, CJ Kafis, I called up a couple times during the season, and listen, he hit for the cycle. Literally no other of my batters can say that they've done that. So he deserves immense credit. There's also not really a role for him on this team next year, unless maybe I put him at DH sort of thing, because having both Lamp and Kafis in at backup outfield and bringing in a new outfielder makes the outfield kind of crowded. So we'll see what that looks like in the off season. And then the last two players I want to talk about before I wrap up. First, Charlie Condon, who I would say is going to be one of our best hitters, period. Um, he had a decent amount more bats this year and had a lot more hits. He also had 33 home runs, 92 RBIs. He did have 162 strikeouts. That's a real number. It's there. I can live with it. The man's slugging was a 517 for crying out loud. And defensively at first base, he's not bad. 9 errors. That's not nothing. But he has a solid range of 7, zone rating of 3.6. So I think our infield next year is set. Condon first, Howley second, Tovar short, Bregman third. Catching we're set with Hunter Goodman and Dario Laverde. 2 out of 3 starting outfields are set. Backup outfield is set. The 2 big question marks we have, who's going to take left field or who's going to take center if Carrick takes left? And then finally, what do we do about DH? Because when we acquired Nolan Shanuel in June, he became essentially our immediate DH. He got 66 starts, and only 11 of them were at first. His range was pretty good. He has a little bit of a negative zone rating, but I think he can do okay at first-ish. And he was pretty good. He hit 8 home runs with us, didn't strike out a ton. Strikeouts were actually down compared to where they were with the Angels. 804 OPS, and he was worth essentially 1 WAR if you combine the Angels and Rockies stints. Is that good enough to be a DH next year? I think so. He's not going to be the biggest power guy in the room, but that's okay when we have guys like Condon and Hunter Goodman that can fill that spot. So I think right now Nolan Shanuel is going to be our DH for next season. And you got to remember, he's only 26. Like, that's how long he's been playing with the Angels up until this point. So if DH is set, that does kind of limit our outfield a little bit to what we want to do, but we'll see how all of that shakes out. I did want to briefly check in on Michael Toglia, see how he did this season. Answer, very simple. He didn't play. I am disheartened. What a shame. Malpractice from the Giants, in my opinion. That is a shame. All right. But that's where our team is at. I think most of our lineup is set. Can I pull? Yeah, I can pull Carrick back. Oh, yeah, Chase Dollander. I'll figure out what to do with him. I think most of our lineup is set. I think right now let's pencil Cole Kerrigan at center. I think we're going to have Howley hit third in place of Bregman. Condon 4. Hunter Goodman 5 or 6. Which was he better when he hit this season? He was better at 6. So, Bregman might hit third. Goodman, or might hit 5th. Goodman 6th. Walker 7. Tovar at short. I believe he did better hitting 8th and 9th. Yeah, only slightly. And then we just need to figure out left field. And then for backups, we have Acuna, who I think did well enough to earn a shot at backup infield next year. We have Joe Lamp. We have CJ Kayfus for the backup outfield. So, lineup, more or less set, barring any craziness. The rotation is completely set. Luis De Leon, Burns, Herrera, Fleury, one of Bobby Miller or Gabriel Hughes. The bullpen is looking to get blown up. Munoz, Chachik, Sam, Vodnik is 4, Jameson is 5, Zerpa is 6. That is our bullpen. Everyone else, Molina, Halverson, Dollander, Herrera, I think we will move on from and bring in some fresh arms to that bullpen. So we'll see what all of that looks like. We have a lot of arbitration decisions coming up for a lot of players who want a lot of money. So it'll be interesting to see how all of that plays out. We have some pending minor league free agents. I will sort all of this out, I think, off stream, and then we will pick up next time when free agency begins in 3 weeks in this game. But that is it for this episode. As a reminder, and I said this yesterday as well, due to travel, this will be the last stream for about a week. The next stream will be sometime on next Wednesday, which is the 16th. So if you have some episodes you need to catch up on, or if you want to watch our tremendous World Series run in 2027 again, please feel free to do so. But that is it for this episode. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.